Hi, I'm Tracy Lockwood Beckerman. I'm a registered dietitian in New York City, and it's my job to help you figure out what to eat and why. Today we're talking about a buzzy and controversial topic in the food world, food combining. If you've never heard of it, you probably have some questions like, what exactly are we combining? Today I'm explaining the food trend and my take on it. So strap in and get ready for some hashtag opinions. Food combining is a method of eating supported by the idea that certain foods pair well together to promote better digestion, which will offset negative health issues. Those who food combine believe that slow digesting and fast digesting foods, or foods with drastically different pH levels, should be consumed separately. They believe that mixing these groups of foods will result in GI distress. Therefore, those who practice food combining only eat certain combos of food at a time. Because food combining comes from varied sources, there are a ton of different rules outlined, and much of the information is conflicting. Regardless, here are the most common rules. 1. Fruit must be eaten on an empty stomach. 2. Don't combine starchy foods with protein. Eat starches alone or with cooked non-starchy veggies. 3. Dairy products must also be consumed on an empty stomach, especially milk. 4. Don't combine protein and fat. 5. Different types of protein shouldn't be combined and should be eaten alone or with cooked non-starchy veggies. 6. You cannot consume processed foods and foods that include added sugar. Remember, these are just some of the rules that are held across the board. Let's dive into the pros and cons of the diet and debunk some myths about food combining. While I usually start with the pros, in this episode, I think it's important to take a look at the lack of science behind food combining. Although it's been around for a while, there's no scientific evidence to support this way of eating. And to date, there's only been one study that has examined the principles of food combining, and only in its relation to weight loss. Spoiler alert, it didn't make a difference. Here are some other reasons why food combining really just doesn't add up. Eating carbohydrates on their own will cause them to digest and absorb into the bloodstream much faster than if they are paired with proteins or fats. Digestion is a complicated process, and really, our bodies are designed to process different macronutrients, carbs, proteins, and fats, all in the same meal. Nutrients are better absorbed when combined with fat-soluble vitamins. That's why you pair avocado and toast. And besides that, we only have one stomach, one small intestine, and one large intestine, which means all the food we eat ends up hanging out together anyway, regardless of timing. Like everything but the bagel seasoning, yum. Things just work better together than apart. Food combining promotes restrictive eating patterns, which can lead to food binging, yo-yo dieting, and negative body image. There are very stringent rules for food combining, which may make it difficult to follow the plan, both for your sanity and for your satiety. Let's talk about this whole acidity thing. The pH scale measures how acidic or how alkaline, basic, a solution is, ranging from 0 to 14. And your body has several ways of keeping the pH in check. Basically, when eating a very acidic or very alkaline meal, your body has the ability to add more or less digestive juices in order to achieve the necessary pH to do its job. This, my friend, is called homeostasis, and your body is really good at keeping things balanced. We want a somewhat acidic stomach to eliminate viruses and bacteria in the gut and to help protect the body from infection. Therefore, there is no evidence to suggest that eating specifically acidic, neutral, or alkaline foods can impact our digestive tract's pH. Our bodies will always find a way to outsmart the food and regulate its own pH. The most common claim of food combining is that food ferments or putrefies in the stomach. The belief is that if fast digesting foods are eaten with slow digesting foods, the fast digesting foods stay in the stomach for so long that it begins to ferment or rot. Not only does the pH from your stomach have the ability to kill any lingering bacteria, but the intestines contract to move the food along, if you know what I mean, so it doesn't sit in your gut for eternity. Your gut doesn't want food taking up space either. It wants to make more room for more nutrients. That's how digestion works, my friend. What's worth bringing up is that food combining may result in more appropriate portion sizes, as someone following the diet may be more inclined to pay attention to what they're eating, which can prevent bloat from overeating. If practiced in a non-restrictive way, food combining can promote mindfulness. The diet isn't necessarily about restricting food itself, because nothing is really taken off the menu. When practicing mindfulness, people can experience improved digestive symptoms because they are eating more slowly and until the body reaches satiety. The diet promotes the consumption of whole, real, and fresh foods, and no packaged foods are allowed. Subconsciously, you will be incorporating more fruits and vegetables into your diet, which I can 100% stand behind. The rules of food combining claim that the body is not equipped to digest mixed meals, but the human body has actually evolved, thrived, and survived on a diet of whole foods, which include the combos of carbs, protein, and fats. Your body is built to multitask. It's worth mentioning that those with health concerns like diabetes or even those with poor blood sugar control should ask a registered dietitian or medical professional before following this style of eating. Other than that, I would not recommend food combining due to its lack of science, unrealistic rules, and overall confusing messaging. We'll see you next time for another episode of You vs. Food. Although I don't stand behind food combining, a combination I can get behind is you subscribing to Well+Good's YouTube channel. What a great combo.